everybody, Earl at thelogbook.com, back with another small herd of infinite sheep. We're going to talk about spots where there was little to no footage provided to me ahead of time for the promo. This was a thing that happened a lot about 25-ish years ago, 20 to 25 years ago at Channel 40. It was a frequent complaint of mine that we would either have no footage, but the spot needs to be done now, or we would have a single headshot in the can at the time that the spot had to be done now. And it was frustrating. Can you tell I'm a little bit frustrated even thinking about it? Now, this is something I try to tell people a lot. If you came from a small market station, chances are you did not necessarily have a graphics department at your disposal in creative services. You had to be able to roll your own. You had to be able to come up with your own stuff. And if you didn't, you were boned. That was definitely the case during this period at 4029, where footage just seemed like it was optional for selling a news story. It's like, y'all do remember this is a visual medium, right? But, we wanted the spots done now, and without waiting for the photogs and the reporters to come back with the actual interviews that were going to form the backbone of the story. It was a really annoying recurring thing, and the 3 spots you are going to see today are examples of me tap dancing madly on the head of a pin to make it work. We start in May of 2002.
College graduates ready to take on the world, but having a hard time finding a job. 4029 takes a look at why a college degree doesn't go as far as it used to. Help wanted. Tuesday on 4029, your hometown news at 10.
Okay, so I distinctly remember graphic designing that spot because basically it involved creating a gigantic graphic, much bigger than was needed, because you're going to have the avid pan the graphic around so you're focusing on different parts of it. So you had to come up with this graphic that was, I'm going to say something like that was at least 6,000 by 4,000 or 5,000 in resolution, because you are traveling all over that thing. But when you zoom in on it, it still needs to be broadcast resolution. So it was an enormous, not really an enormous graphic design task, it was an enormously tedious one, because you had to come in with filler copy for all those things that you saw that looked like newspaper classifieds. You didn't want to do just lorem ipsum. You wanted to make it look like it was a real thing, and so if I remember correctly, I went and grabbed that day's paper and looked at the classifieds and looked at the stuff that looked like BS job listings and copied a lot of that into the graphic. What the heck? Why not? And that was how you compensated for the fact that there was literally not 1 second, not 1 frame of actual footage in that spot. You ready for another one that it was much of the same challenge? Also no footage in the can before I had to make the promo?
It knows how fast your car is going, even if you're wearing a seatbelt. It's recorded by your car in a black box you probably didn't know existed. Your Car's Black Box, Sunday at 10 on 4029.
Okay, that was another one where it involved, I think that map came from AP Graphics Bank, if I'm not mistaken. but it was inverted, colorized, kind of looked like the giant lucite map of Gotham City in the old Batman TV series. And the other things were just graphics that I pulled either from the internet or I created them out of whole cloth and just generated that display that was entirely a task of graphics and animation because, again, not one frame of footage to use for the spot. Just our news anchor announcing it, and, what are we going to put on the screen because television is a visual medium? Occasionally we would get something that did have footage, but it was a talking head. And sometimes it was just one talking head because I think that was the case with this next one because I looked at it and tried to remember what I could about it. This was from, I believe, May Sweeps of 2005. And we had one interview in the can with one viewpoint, but that's it. We didn't have the main interview that was going to be the main part of the story. But still, again, as was the custom at 4029 at the time, the promo had to be done now! And we wound up with this.
You hear it all the time. Our teachers are underpaid.
I do think teachers are underpaid.
We'll show you just how much they're making and why their paychecks keep getting bigger. The truth about teacher pay.
Tonight at 10 on your Hometown News.
Some nice 2D animation for a story that the promo... I don't remember actually watching the story, so I don't remember the content of the story itself. The promo sure makes it look like it is going to be a super crappy hit piece on teachers' unions, to me, in hindsight. And maybe I should have done something to not allow that perception to be a thing. But, yeah, some decent 2D animation in there, like the chairs were one isolated piece. The chalkboard was an isolated piece. I did like how the footage was kind of reduced to black and white and put over the chalkboard. That was kind of neat. I just kind of hate that the promo makes it sound like there is some built-in slant there, which should never be the case, but I'm sure some people would be cheering. Those are just 3 of many, many examples of how I had to deal with this frequent flyer problem of no footage or not enough footage, and yet the promo needs to be done early because the news management wanted to sign off on the spot. It wasn't enough for creative services director to sign off on it. They had to sign off on it too. And I get that there are reasons for that. That's not a bad thing to want to do. But it seemed like, saying that we want to sign off on things, but then having us do the spot before there was any real tangible asset to make the spot from is kind of it was not exactly setting me up for success. In some cases, I did some of my best work that way, but in a lot of cases, it all felt like... I feel like the lesser of those 3 spots was the Cars black box. That seemed really cheap and cheesy, and it's not something I'm terribly proud of. I don't really know why I kept that one, except perhaps just to chronicle that this was a problem. It was a persistent problem. And a lot of the spots for which there was no footage turned out a lot like that one. And things did get better later, but it seemed like moving heaven and earth to get the management to acknowledge that.